What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam, this is Vancity Audi, and your eyes do not deceive you. That is my RS3 back on the dyno here at Racing Greed. I'm utilizing the TTE855 hybrid turbo, the largest hybrid turbo offering from the turbo engineers in this bad boy. Today, it's gonna be an interesting one because we're trying to sort out the tune. Now, I've been telling you guys for some time now that I'm gonna be using Unitronic, as I have from not day one. I was using another company, blew up my motor, switched over to Unitronic, and I've had a ton of success since, and I'm gonna be using them again for the tuning solution for this turbo. The problem is, we've been through some ups and downs with this turbo, and the turbo engineers had to change their actuator to make it more off-the-shelf, software-friendly, we'll say. It didn't quite work out as well as they expected for companies like Unitronic, who wanted to be able to provide a piece of software for a turbo and not be dependent on having the exact same hardware for everyone. So my car has quite free-flowing things, such as this beast of a 3.5-inch titanium custom exhaust straight out the back, which this is the first time we're gonna hear it at wide open throttle on the dyno. I'm freaking excited just to hear the car. I don't even care what numbers we make. I'm excited to hear it. So today is a different type of tuning time, not tuning time, dyno time. We're gonna be using it to tune the car. It's not going to be a balls to the wall, we're gonna see how much power we can make. It's not that type of video. We are starting today at 0 wastegate duty cycle, because we're gonna see if this turbo has any boost creep. That's the first goal, to see what we're dealing with. So a lot of the first runs we're gonna do are short little ones with boost taking forever to build. So I think we're gonna do like 4,000 RPM, like 6,500 RPM, and possibly then to red line. We still have to figure that out, but we're gonna be doing quite a few to start off with, and I will show that all to the guys that love those pops and bangs that the cars make these days. They are crazy loud in this car, so I'll share that with you, the filming of those runs when he lets off and the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba that you guys all love. So that we'll do first. Then once we have that, if Unitronic is comfortable with it, which I suspect they will, then we're gonna start dialing in the turbo. Now, this isn't going to be a one-of-a-kind, this is it and we're done. This is just the beta development. So what we're planning on doing is kind of getting them a baseline on how the turbo works on my car. They're gonna take that knowledge and then they're gonna apply it to their TTRS at Unitronic headquarters. Then they're gonna spend a ton more time on their own dyno to get it sorted as best they possibly can. Then when that beta file is created, they will fire that back to me and I'll be back to see how much power this turbo makes on this car, on this dyno, which is a Mustang all-wheel drive dyno, and we show dyno jet calibrated numbers, as we always have with this car. So I'm not gonna go over all the parts used in today's video. I'll save that for another video. This is just gonna be some dialing in of the car. I'll give you little snippets in between of what's happening, and we'll have some fun today. And with any luck, Unitronic will get one step closer to having this turbo completely tuned with Unitronic software. Now, if you guys have followed along with my build this year, you know we've done a couple of extra things, one of which being water methanol injection. I just wanted to make it all clear to you guys, I have disconnected the controller today. There will be no spraying of any water meth in this video. We're just running off all turbo today. We need to dial in this tune and make it work as best we possibly can. The car is strapped down. Let's get to these first initial set of runs where we're just slowly dialing it in to see how much boost creep this turbo has. those runs under our belt, damn, this car sounds good. Now it's time to start ramping it up. We're gonna ramp up that wastegate duty cycle bit by bit by bit, so we'll have something to drive away today and the car will work reasonably well. I don't think it's gonna be race ready, I can't say that yet, but the idea of today, as I mentioned in the opening, is just to get something together to get it back to Unitronic so they can finalize the tune for everyone. Time to ramp it up a bit and see what we can do. So we now have a few more runs under our belt. Damn, I love the sound of this car. What Unitronic has provided me is 3 different revisions, one after another after another. And what they are allowing my car to do is only achieve a certain percentage of a wastegate duty cycle. So we have 30%, 40%, and then 50%. The wastegate was not able to close any more than that. So in this graph I'm about to show you, I show you the results of those 3 pulls. Here we go, guys. The first numbers of the day, we managed 521 and 379, 566, 437, and finally 623 and 525. Those are all horsepower ratings at the wheels and foot-pounds of torque. As you guys can see, very linear, nice, smooth graphs. These are just to get a baseline so we can get started to see how this turbo operates. That's what we were able to do in terms of power. Pretty impressive, guys, that at 50% wastegate duty cycle, we managed 623 wheel and 525 foot-pounds of torque. On to more revisions to see how much more power we can make today. Look at that curve, guys. Holy crap. 732 wheel horsepower, 661 foot-pounds of torque. Look at that torque, just flat. Looks fantastic. We're kind of slowing down here. I bet you it could keep going, but for progress sake, that is really impressive. Now keep in mind, the 777 made 748 wheel horsepower all out. And we're still dialing this turbo in, so let's see what else we can squeeze out of this 855. There you have the final revision of the day, guys, and we did it. We surpassed my results with my 777 of making 779 wheel horsepower and 677 foot-pounds of torque. The graph is looking still pretty decent. Yes, there's a lot of work still to do. This is the very, very first time they've had it on the dyno, but still really impressive. So what I'm gonna show you guys for the final graph is a comparison of this tune versus my 777's best results. And here is the final graph of the day, comparing what I managed to achieve today with a not fully developed tune by any stretch of the imagination by a maxed out 777. 779 versus 748 and 677 versus 642. There are the graphs, and holy hell. We see more of a peak in torque, but guys, check out that spool. How the hell is that even possible? That's virtually identical, if not better than the 777, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like I mentioned, the tune is not fully completed, but still very impressive stuff. And then the horsepower, there's a little bit of a dip here, but then it climbs and peaks higher than the 777. Really impressive for the first day with a few hours on the dyno, with Unitronic sending these files as the very beginning of their 855 calibration. Damn, does it ever feel good to be back here at Racing Greed on the dyno with my RS3. I had a blast today, learning a bunch of new things and seeing what my car is capable of with this brand new TTE855. I don't think we're anywhere near its true potential yet. This was a very, very basic setup and slowly ramping it in with Unitronic. For those of you that are familiar with that company, they take some time to really put a lot of thought process and a lot of R&D into the stuff that they release. They're not someone to just fire something out on the market. So I understand why they're taking their time with this. Today was just the bare bones. We're just getting into it. And now that I've put in that initial stage, all of this information goes off to Unitronic, and they have their in-house TTRS equipped with an 855 now. And they use this calibration and they continue the work, and they're gonna put in God knows how many days, hours to figure this out and get it as perfectly dialed in as they can. Then they're gonna send me back their beta calibration. Then we'll be back here on the dyno again to see how much they've been able to improve the numbers that we achieved today and the way that graph looks. I have a feeling they're gonna really smooth that out and make it even better. Something I wanted to clarify is I learned a lot today. The issues we were having with the 855 were the opposite of what I thought before. In my previous video, if you guys check that one out where I'm talking about the 855 and the issue with the actuator, it wasn't that it wasn't sensitive enough. As I saw today in the logs, it is that it was too sensitive. So this new actuator, they dialed back the sensitivity, but it's still really quite sensitive. So small changes in that wastegate duty cycle made huge differences in our logs and in our runs. So hopefully today you guys can see kind of the process that goes into the development of these tunes. I'm very, very blessed that Unitronic was kind enough to start this progress with me, but to my knowledge, I'm not gonna be racing on this tune or anything like that, so gonna have to hold off for some drag racing videos. Unless they give me the go-ahead, I don't know how much quicker or faster it's gonna be than my previous 777, but if they'll allow me to, I will. If not, we still have to wait because I want to get as much as I can out of this turbo, and I know with more time in their capable hands on their dyno with their car, they'll be able to sort it out even further. Thank you so much to everyone for watching, and until next time, take care.